sauerkraut half a block down the street from Jerry's Bait Shop. You know the place. Well, anyway, back then life was going swell and everything was just...
Peachy!
Except, of course, for the undeniable fact that every single morning, my mother would make me a big old bowl of ashtray for breakfast. It was driving me crazy! I said to my mom, I said, hey, Mom! 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 What's up? And my dear sweet mother, she just looked at me like a train looks at an oncoming house. She leaned right down next to me. Wow! It's good for you! And she leaned right down next to me, and she said... And then she gave me a colonic irrigation, stuck a funnel in my mouth and force-fed me nothing but beer until I was 6 years old. That's when I swore that someday I would get out of that basement and travel to a magical, faraway place where the sun is always shining and the air smells like and the towels are oh so fluffy. And anyone on the street will gladly shave your back for a snorkel. Yeah, well, let me tell you people, it wasn't long at all before my dream came true. Because the very next day, a local radio station had this contest to see who could correctly guess the number of weasels from Leonard Nimoy's butt. I was off by 3, but I still won the grand prize. That's right, a first-class one-way ticket to... Oh, yeah. You know, I'd never been on a real airplane before, and I gotta tell you, it was really great. Except that I had to sit between 2 large Albanian women with excruciatingly severe body odor, and the little kid in back of me kept throwing up the whole time. The flight attendants ran out of Dr. Pepper and salted peanuts, and the in-flight movie was nothing! And oh yeah, 3 of the airplane engines burned out, and we went into a tailspin and crashed into a hillside, and the plane exploded in a giant fireball, and everybody died! Except for me. You know why? I don't know! So I crawled from the twisted, burning wreckage. I crawled on my hands and knees for 3 full days, dragging along my big suitcase and my tenor saxophone and my Garmin bag, my 12-pound bowling ball and bowling suit and my tennis ball and my 12-pound bag and my lucky autographed glow-in-the-dark nickel. But finally I arrived at the world-famous Holiday Inn where the towels are oh so fluffy, and you can eat your soup, you better believe it. Oh so fluffy. It's okay, they're clean. Well, I checked into my room and I turned down the AC, 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 and I turned on the Spectravision, and I'm just about to eat that little chopped on my pillow that I love so very, very much when suddenly there's a knock on the door. Well, now who could that be? I say, who is it? No answer. Who is it? There's no answer. Who is it? They're not saying anything. So finally I go over and I open the door, and just as I suspected, it's my mother. It's good for you! Just as I suspected, it's some big fat hermaphrodite with a leather suit and only one B. Oh man, I hate it when I'm right. So anyway, he burst into my room and he grabbed my lucky nickel. And I'm like, hey, you can't have that. That's nickel. It's just like a nickel to me. And he's like, tough. And I'm like, give it. And he's like, make me. And I'm like, okay. So I grabbed his leg and he grabbed my esophagus and I bit off it. And I took out his appendix. The phone got knocked off the hook. And 20 seconds later, I heard a familiar voice. And you know what it said? It said...
Hey, glad you came back for another night. I promise it'll be a lot more interesting this time. We found some great new relics over the weekend, and we're out tracking down a new lead right now. So, let me just update you real quick, then you can get to work. Like, the attraction opens in like a week, so we have to make sure everything works and nothing catches on fire. When the place opens, people will come in, opposite into the building, and work their way towards you, and pass you, and out the exit. Yeah, you've officially become part of the attraction. You'll be starring as a security guard. So not only will you be monitoring the people on the cameras they pass through, you know, make sure no one steals anything or fakes out of the corner.
Bye-bye. Well, to cut a long story short, he got away with my nickel. So I got in my car and I drove over to the donut shop. I walked on up to the guy behind the counter and he says, What do you want? I said, you got any glazed donuts? He said, yeah. I said, well, you got any jelly donuts? He said, yeah. I said, you got any Bavarian cream-filled donuts? He said, no. You got any starving, crazed weasels? He said, wait a minute, I'll go check. No! We're out of weasels. I said, well, in that case, what do you have? He says, all I got right now is this box of 1 dozen seagulls. I said, okay, I'll take that. So he hands me the box and I open up the lid and the seagulls jump out and they immediately latch onto my face and start biting me all over. Oh man, they were just going nuts. They were tearing me apart. You know, I think it was just about that time.
A little ditty started going through my head.
I believe it went a little something like this. I ran out into the street with these flesh-eating seagulls. And as luck would have it, that's exactly when I ran into the girl of my dreams. Her name was Zelda. She was a constipated hermaphrodite and hair the color of strainy peach. I'll never forget the very first thing she said to me. She said, hey, do you want to join the Columbia Record Club? That's when I knew it was true love. Oh, we ate together, we bathed together.
We ate together, we bathed together.
We ate together, we bathed together. We even shared the same tube for dental floss. The world was our wiener dog. So we got married and we bought us a house and had 2 beautiful children, Nathaniel and Sue. Oh, we were so very happy. Oh, yeah. But then one fateful night, Zelda said to me, she said, Sweetie Pumpkin? I said, whoa! Sweetie Pumpkin? So we broke up and I never saw her again. Anyway, things really started looking up for me because about a week later, I finally achieved my lifelong dream. That's right, I got me a part-time job at Jerry's Bait Shop.
The Caribbean's in Kansas City. Come out and play, it's a sunny day. At the bait shop, everything's okay. You can let your troubles melt away. Well, there's a party at Jerry's Bait Shop. Whoa, check out the chicks on top, shake it up, get it started now. At Jerry's Bait Shop. Whoa, check out the beers on tap, sit on back, get it started now. At Jerry's Bait Shop.
I even made Employee of the Month after I put out that face fire with my face. Grease. Oh yeah, everybody was pretty jealous of me after that. I was getting a lot of attitude. Okay, like one time I was out in the parking lot when I see this guy Marty trying to carry a big old Marty. So I say to him, I say, hey, you want me to help you with that? And Marty, he just rolls his eyes and goes, no, I want you to die. And then he gets all indignant on me. He's like, hey man, I was just being sarcastic. Well, that's just great. How was I supposed to know that? I'm the mind reader for crying out loud. Besides, now he's got a really cute nickname, boy. Torso! Hey, that reminds me of another amusing anecdote. This guy comes up to me on the street and he tells me he hasn't had a bite in 3 days. Well, I knew what he meant, but just to be funny, I took a big bite and he's yelling and screaming and bleeding all over. I'm like, hey, come on, don't you get it? Why are you rolling around the sidewalk bleeding and screaming? Ah! And I'm completely missing the irony of the whole situation.
Man, some people just can't take a joke, you know?
Anyway, where was I?
One eternity later.
Well, okay, anyway, I know it's kind of a roundabout way of saying it, but I guess the whole point I'm trying to make here is the Sizzler. There's still a little place called Jerry's Bait Shop.